Cultivating a spring-like quality in the body with the connective tissue is so monumentally valuable because it allows us to move with freedom, a sense of fluidity, strength, balance, and agility. The bowspring helps us to restore our lost spring and helps us to practice cultivating more spring and bounciness in the body and movement. And that is what this class is all about today. I'm so glad that you're here. Because of things like stress, rigid exercise, aligning the body with this idea of like stacking the bones, not processing our emotions fully, imbalanced muscle tone, all of this helps us lose our spring. So reigniting our spring is so important to our health and how it is that we feel as we age, because we all experience stress, rigidity, So we've got to really reignite it. Hello everyone, my name is Latka and I'm so glad that you're on my channel. I am a movement and posture coach, a certified bowspring instructor, a myofascial release body worker, and a nutrition therapist. It's really my greatest passion to support you feeling fantastic in your body, clear and open in your mind, and free in all of your movement. Before we hop into the actual movement practice, I just wanted to share 4 reasons why nurturing your body's inherent spring is so important to your health. However, know that there are many more reasons why cultivating a spring is so important. The first reason, hydration of tissues. Movement that mimics a spring's rhythmic nature, it encourages the flow of fluids like interstitial fluid, synovial fluid, that keeps the tissue hydrated and pliable. This supports the regeneration of tissue and very much so prevents stiffness and degeneration. This is so incredibly important for full body health, but especially for pelvic floor health. The second is shock absorption. A springy body can absorb and distribute forces more evenly than a not springy body. And this helps to protect the joints, helps to protect the tissues from excessive wear and tear while also strengthening the bones. The third is postural integrity. A springy alignment optimizes the natural curves of the spine and the body, and the tensegrity of the entire body, promoting better posture and reducing tension and compression through all of the joints and the body systems. Number 4, nervous system regulation. Bouncy, spring-like movement can have a very calming effect on the nervous system, which enhances relaxation, and then it strengthens our ability to shift from a stress response to a relaxation response. Okay, so now that we understand why cultivating a spring-like state in the body is so beneficial, let's really tap into it and explore the vitality that lives there to rejuvenate our mind, our body, our heart, and let's hop into our movement space and let's get springy together. All right, my friends, welcome to your movement space. And did I mention too that cultivating a spring-like state really helps to enliven the lymphatic system and to build muscle tone? So those are 2 added benefits added to the list. So a quick reference, I will be referring to the paw of the foot. And what I mean by that is it's the front, top 30% of your foot. That's the paw. So it's away from the heel and it's above the arch. But right at the bottom of the arch begins the paw. So that's just what I will be referencing quite a bit when we are pumping energy through our body to cultivate more spring. And I just wanted to reference that now. So hello and welcome. Come to your space and we'll begin in a standing position. Step your feet shoulder width distance apart and lift your arms and give yourself a great big hug. Bring a soft bend into your knees, and when you bend your knees, go ahead and sit your hips back without dropping the weight into the heels. Take the weight slightly forward into the paws, but the heels are still grounded. Close your eyes and enjoy a breath as you open your lungs, pushing your lungs into your ribs, filling the ribs and allowing them to expand. Lift the ribs and arc the ribs to the right. Bend your knees and sit your bum back So don't just drop the bum down, sit it back, and then simultaneously lift the left ribs into the air. Lift your ribs back through center and lift them once again so your belly actually gets long here as you arc the ribs to the left. Prioritize the lifting of the right rib as you then arc, opening the right side body. Bring a small little bend into your knees, sit your bum back, and start to pulse the right ribs up towards the sky. Bend your knees, sit your bum back, pulse the ribs up. Inhale, lift through center. Relax your arms by your side. Close your eyes and enjoy 2 breaths that really allow you to ground into this moment. Moving appreciation through your body for setting aside the time to come into your body to cultivate a spring that offers us so many benefits. Lift your hands and take your hands to your side ribs with the fingers on the front and the thumbs in the back. The webbing between the index and the thumb is at the side ribs, and let's continue that potent breath. You can open your eyes or close them. The intention here is to expand the ribs fully into your hands, opening them like an accordion. And this is the first pump of the breath that we connect with that offers us a spring in our energy. Especially fill the back ribs. One more breath, and the legs are the knees are at a small little bend, and you're not dropping weight through the back of the heels. You're shifting the weight more forward into the paws. Wonderful. Once again, give yourself a great big hug, wrapping the opposite arm around as the top arm. Okay, soften the traps and allow your elbows to even come to the front chest. I can't do that because of my mic, but you can relax your elbows to the front of your chest and soften the top of the shoulders. Enjoy a really big breath through your ribs, and then lift the ribs as a whole unit up towards the sky. Soften the traps, that's the top of your shoulders. Bend your knees, sit your bum back. Extend the legs as you arc the ribs to the right. Lift the left ribs into the air and soften your right ear behind your shoulder. Bend your knees, sit your bum back. Extend the legs, arc the ribs. Do this a few more times, and here we're bending and extending, turning the whole body into a pump that helps to cultivate more spring. Each time you bend your knees, you sit the bum back. Lift the ribs and arc to the left. Ooh, notice if you feel tighter on one side than the other. I definitely do. Bend your knees, sit your bum back, and we're going to continue to pulse the energy through these bend and extends through the legs. The idea is that we want the ribs to be full, open, and in a lifting position as they move in different directions. Back heart full, side ribs expanded, and the whole rib cage lifting and arcing. Lift the ribs to center. Keep the expansion of the ribs, the lifting of the front body, as you lower your hands by the side. Lift your arms into the air and cross your left wrist over your right. Fold your fingers in and soften your right ear behind your right shoulder. So notice that my arms, they're in the front plane. So they're not all the way back here. They're more in the front plane. Then your right shoulder even creates a little pillow for your ear to rest onto, or your head to rest onto. Now pressure your wrists into each other very gently. Bend your knees, sit your bum back, and then extend the legs and arc the ribs up and over to the right. Bend and extend. Deep side body opener as well as a rib opener. Equal resistance with the arms pressing into each other, and you can even close your eyes here as you lean your head and your ribs back and lift them. Relax your toes into the ground and lift through center. Switch out the right arm so it crosses over your left. Soften your left ear behind your shoulder. Micro bend the elbows. Resist the wrist into each other as you lift the right ribs into the air. Now sit your right hip as far back. I'm trying to give you multiple views of my body so you can get the most amount of information. Bend your legs evenly and the weight is distributed evenly as you sit the right hip back to pull the right rib up towards the sky, and then take an arc here for 3. Deep breath in. We cultivate springiness first from our breath. It's a mindful breathing exercise through all of our poses. And this breath happens, it comes in through the nose and out through the nose. Sometimes the mouth if we're feeling a lot of stress. Lift the arms and lower the hands by the side. And just take a sway here. So the arms are going to just sway in the front plane, and we want to be as graceful as possible while encouraging the ribs to lift from the hips. Wonderful. And come back to through center. Keep a small bend into your knees and notice when the feet are stepped shoulder width distance apart. The toes are pointing forward. When you bend the knees and tilt the pelvis, can you feel how open you are at the bottom of your pelvic floor? We want to keep that opening as you lift a column of energy up through the body, the ribs, and the head. As the head lifts and angles up towards the sky, root simultaneously back through the hips. Lift your arms once again and sit. Step the right foot wide, sit, step the left foot wide, and lower your hands to your base thighs. Widen your bum back behind you. Shift the weight into the paws of your feet, and you're light through the heels. The heels can be still on the ground, but there's a lightness there. And dip your right rib into center. Lift the right rib, so it's not just a full dropping. You want it to be lifting to increase the space between the ribs and the hips. Deep breath in, lift your ribs through center, and then exhale. Left rib comes into center. Bloom your butt back as you push your knees forward into your hands. And then one more time on each side. Right rib dips in. Lift through center, and then left rib dips in. Awesome. Inhale, come through center. Weight the paws of the feet, you're light through the heels. Push the knees forward. Keep your hips widening back. As you lift your hands from your thighs, push your feet into the ground to come into a standing earth position. Step the feet shoulder width distance apart. Cross the left arm over the right, more at the bottom part of your body, but the hands aren't completely collapsed at the belly. Draw your chin in towards your chest and start to arc your left ribs up towards the sky. Breathe energy into your left ribs, opening those intercostal muscles. Bring a couple pumping actions through the feet. Relax, and the legs, relaxing your toes to the ground, and you can even draw your front shoulders in momentarily. Now untuck your butt and then lift through center. Switch out the cross of the arms, right arm crosses over left. Draw your chin in, fold your front shoulders forward momentarily to open the back heart, and take your hands up and over to the left. But notice the distance that they are from my body, so it's not completely down and it's not completely up. Okay, but push the wrists into each other as you widen more fully through your right rib cage, creating a turtle shell action, but untuck the butt as you bloom your booty wide, and then you can bring some pulses into this movement. 3 and 1. Awesome. Lift your ribs through center and open your arms towards the sky. Hold the back of your head. The fingertips meet at the center of the skull. Your elbows come in towards your face, so not wide here, but in, and lift your chin from your throat. Lift the ribs and soften your traps. Bend your knees and bloom your butt back, and can you feel how long your belly is becoming? That is integral to creating spring and hydration through our tissues. Lean back through the head, the heart, and the hips, and lift your ribs and arc to the right. Bend your knees, bloom the butt back, pulse it for 5. Imagine that you are arcing like a big, beautiful rainbow. So the hips are the first part of the rainbow. The ribs are the top of the rainbow. And the head is the last part of the rainbow. The right ear can soften behind your shoulder. Deep breath in. Lift through center. Arc the ribs to the left. Lift your chin to open your throat. That leans your head back. That's good news. Push your hands back into your head to resist that as the right ribs prioritize lifting and then arcing. Bend and extend through the legs. Weight the feet evenly and keep your toes grounded to the ground. Then push your pump from the paws of the feet, so you're pushing into the ground to feel the ribs rise. Connect with your breath. 3 and 1. Inhale, rise the ribs, lift the arms. Yay, we're here. And then lower. Keep that expanded fullness as you lower your hands by your side. Wonderful. Low globe the hands. That means that 2 dome hands come together. All of the fingertips touch except the pinkies. And bend your knees, sit step wide with the feet. Sit step narrow. We have 5 sit step wide and narrow pulses. And what these do, so you're bending your knees and then you're stepping narrow and you're landing with your paw first and then your heel. Step wide, land paw first, then heel. Then as you land with your paw, the booty blooms back behind you. Notice I'm not dropping my butt and pushing my hips forward, keeping it really anchored back. And then prioritize lifting the ribs, softening the traps. Land wide with your feet. Lower your hands to your thighs. Hips root behind you as you take the weight into the paws of your feet. Bend your knees, but keep blooming the bum and staying long through the belly as you lower one hand to the ground, followed by the other. Step your hands forward and step your feet back. Lower your right foot and your right knee to the ground, your left foot and your left knee. And here we are in this all fours position. Enjoy some movement, arcing the ribs left and right. Moving the hips left and right, and move with your own pace and just helping you to come more fully into the terrain of your body, the landscape of your body. Okay, come through center and let's just lose our spring for a moment. Drop the ribs. Okay, drop the ribs, and you can feel how the energy, it totally flatlines through the hands and through the wrists, and we drop energy through the joints and compress the joints. So we don't want to do that. So let's find our spring here as you push your hands into the ground, lift your ribs, micro bend your elbows, and smile open through your collarbones. Awesome. Pull the tops of the feet where your shoelaces are down and forward. Push your knees wide into the mat. Sit your hips back a few inches, keeping the sitting bones wide and broad. Pull the ribs forward as we take these spring-loaded pulses. Lift your chin out of your throat. Gift this moment and your body a beautiful breath through your nose, letting that breath be so long and deep. And come through center. Draw your chin in towards your chest. Drop your bum momentarily and fill through your upper back. Arc the ribs to the right. A little arc and say hello to your left bottom rib and your left waistline. Hopefully it's activating sensation there. Lift through center and arc your ribs to the left. Push your right ribs wide. Let your breath fill into the whole barrel of your ribs. It's shaped like a barrel. One more time on each side. Expand through the side ribs. And notice when you push into the ground with your hands and your arms, the back ribs rise. Lift the ribs to center and untuck the butt. Lift the chin out of the throat. Soften your belly towards the ground. And then we'll just take a couple more of these spring-loaded pulses. Each breath, each movement, cultivating more spring in our bodies and a springiness in our mind and our well-being. Step the big toe mounds together and widen your knees apart. And bloom your bum. Shift the weight, bring the ribs more forward. So we don't want them to be back and dropped bum. Look how I'm dropping here. So we want to untuck and then walk your hands up and over to the right. Step the hands a little bit wider and more in front of the shoulders. So you're at a diagonal. And then push into the ground to help fill your ribs. And then arc the ribs to the right, expanding energy through your left rib cage. Then untuck your butt and sit your hips in the opposite direction. So the left hip goes back, creating more space in that left side body. Okay, we open up this space. We're engaging the muscles inside of this alignment, and then we pulse it. The pulse, it really cultivates that springy-like nature in our bodies. More bounciness. That means that we're able to like bounce back from things that are hard or things that took us down. Deep breath, and then walk your hands back through center, and let's take them up and over to the opposite direction. The hands are wider and more in front of the shoulders. Okay. Push the right ribs wide, untuck your butt, lift your chin out of your throat and pulse. Can you stay connected to the natural curves of your spine with each pulse? What I mean by that is if you go too far back, then you drop the bum and we lose a very valuable curve, the lower back curve. Keep the booty mounted, the lower back curve present as we pulse. 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Step your hands back to center. Step the knees closer together and the feet apart. So standard all fours position. And let's open the right leg and come into a humble cat. So the right knee opens and step your right foot to align with the center of your left shin and pointing the right foot at a diagonal. So it's not at a 90 degrees and it's not pointing all the way to the top of your mat. It's more at like a 45 degrees. Place the right knee to stack over the right toes and untuck your butt. Energetically push the right knee forward as you bloom your butt back, and then take your left foot, step it to the left. Keep the pelvic floor wide as you fill the ribs, push your hands into the ground, reach your ribs to the front short edge of your mat, and then sit your bum back. But keep that action of the ribs going forward and hips moving in the opposite direction as you pulse. Connect with your breath. Arc your left ear behind your shoulder so that you're looking at your left fingers. Push into the ground and begin to lift your right ribs into the air, bringing your right hand into a dome hand. Imagine that you are cupping a softball in your right hand as you lift your right ribs into the air. Untuck your butt. Keep your head arcing to the left as you pulse. Wonderful job, everybody. Lower your right hand, your right foot, and your right knee. Wag your tail for a moment. Just taking the hips left and right, and maybe even bringing a figure 8 position, or imagining that you had a tail and you can see it wagging. We want this place in our bodies. I'm pointing to the hips and the butt. We want it to be open and lifting. This is really helpful to helping us feel springy and light in our movement. Humble cat to the left. Open your left foot and step your left foot to align with the center of your right shin. Point the left toes at a 45 degrees and the left knee stacks over the toes. Untuck your butt. Opening the tail to the sky as you push your hands into the ground to help fill your ribs. Step your right foot a step wide. push into the ground, and we'll just take a couple of pulses here. As you then begin to arc your right ear behind your shoulder, lifting your left ribs into the air, transitioning your left hand from a spring hand to a dome hand. The dome hand is imagining that you're cupping a softball, so there's no hyperextended fingers. There's a micro bend to all of our joints. And then this root to rise action through the body. So we're rooting through the hips, mounding the glutes up as you rise and pull the ribs out of the hips in a forward direction. Keeping a micro bend through all of our joints is so monumentally valuable to cultivating more spring. If we compress our joints, then we get heavier and stiffer in our bodies. Lower the left hand, walk the right foot back to center, lift and lower the left foot and the left knee and wag your tail. Curl your toes under, or you can lift in with your hero feet, anybody who knows that. And we're gonna lift the knees and come into a crouching cat. Bend your knees, shine your butt towards the sky. Push into the ground to fill your ribs and reach your ribs away from your hips. Bend your knees a few inches, but the butt goes up, it doesn't go down, and your ribs go forward, they don't go back. Pulse. Push your energy from your fingertips into the ground to help lift the ribs. Micro bend the elbows. Then I want you to take these final pulses kind of like you're getting ready to launch yourself forward. It's a springy, it's a bounciness. There's an ability to do so many things when we are springy in our tissue. Sit, go ahead and step the feet wide, walk your hands halfway back. This is a great place to grab a yoga block if you have one, or a coffee table, or even an ottoman chair. I want you propped because when you're propped, you have a deeper ability to open your pelvic floor. So like, check it out. I even have a package here. Okay, liquid collagen, baby. Okay, I even have a package here. So like, get creative. It doesn't have to be a yoga block, but it certainly can. Your hands can be placed on top of the prop. And if you push into the prop, then you can feel your ribs expand. Then bend into your knees. Weight the paws of the feet and your light through the heels. Then extend the hips up towards the sky, keeping the belly long and the ribs full. Bend your knees. Don't drop the butt. Extend and push up. 3 more. And then pause and arc the ribs to the right. Arc the ribs to the left. Come through center, walk your hands up to your thighs. Root down through the paws of your feet. Push your knees forward into your hands. Resist your hands back into your legs to help lift the ribs. Lift the ribs once again and sit, step, come into a neutral position. Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and step your prop aside and step the feet shoulder width distance. Low globe the hands. Lift the ribs, soften the traps, bend your knees, let the hips go behind you as you push your knees forward. Pull the crown of the head up. So the front of the body is really open, the back of the body is open. We're also beginning to develop a tone here. As you lift the ribs, you can feel the core engage. And then for these little springy hops, what it is that I'm going to be coaching you through a couple of variations. So just dose this however is going to best serve you. Okay, so here, just bend and extend the legs, and it's like I'm pumping energy through my paws. I'm light through the heels, bending the knees, and it's like I'm pushing off, like the energy is pushing off to take it into a hop, but you don't actually hop. Okay, then you can even just relax your arms by your side and even just shake out your wrists. Okay, so this is option number one. Let's even bring it back into a low globe hand position. That's like your, low globe. You're just pumping energy. This is so valuable to the lymphatic system, to the circulatory system. And then for anybody who wants to add on, we're just gonna hop wide, no sound when you land, so go so light, hop narrow. No sound when you land, hop wide, the hips go back, and you keep the ribs full of helium, so they're lifted as you go narrow. Hop wide, hop narrow for 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Okay, but I cannot recommend this one enough. This is the health bounce, okay, and your feet don't even leave the ground, but your body does get this really hydrated energy from the bouncing. Now notice that I'm bouncing with my ribs up and my hips rooted. I'm not, everybody, let's actually just come to a standing position and kind of feel the opposite. But before we do that, let's just calm down, because that can be really elevating to the heart. Even I'm noticing it in my breath. So with a little bend into your knees, sit the hips back, take the weight more forward into the paws, and lift your ribs. Close your eyes and just feel your energy settle, but you're not getting heavy in your bones or your joints. You're actually getting lighter as you move your body in these different directions. Okay, so now let's just go to the opposite, where we flatline and lose our spring and our bounce. So just kind of come to maybe to your normal standing, where you might straighten your legs or push your knees back, and then even drop the ribs for a moment. And the energy can get kind of deflated through the belly. And this is our flatlined. And can you just feel that difference from where it is that we just were? And then begin to wake up the spring even here as you lift the ribs, inflate the ribs 360 degrees with your breath. Then let those beautiful ribs, your incredible heart lift, not just flaring the ribs, but lifting as a unit. And then bring a micro bend into your knees. Take the weight forward into the paws and root the hips back. Now pull the energy from the bottom of your ribs up towards your head, and then out the crown of your head and slightly back. You can see that and feel your body open here in a really beautiful way. Awesome. Okay, low globe, the hands, the elbows lift from the body, the fingertips touch. It's like you're cupping a softball with both hands. Sit the hips and step the feet wide. Bend your knees and bloom your butt. Take your hands to your thighs. Keep bending into your knees, sitting the hips back. Don't let those hips drop as you lower one hand to the ground. Maybe you even feel springy here as you step the opposite hand forward. Step the feet back, crouching cat. Bend your knees, lift the hips. Fill the ribs, reach them forward. 5 high quality bend and extends, pumping the spring, bringing more life force energy into your tissues, enhancing your circulation of blood flow. Okay, last little hurrah. Twist your knees and your feet to the right. Lift your right ribs into the air. Draw your chin in and look under your right armpit. If this feels really challenging, then I'm going to invite you to step your hands back a couple of inches. Bend your knees and pulse, elevating the right ribs towards the sky. Pushing into your left arm into the ground to help fill your left rib. So we're not deflating energy into this shoulder joint or the elbow. Twist your knees and your feet back to center, opposite direction. Twist your knees and your feet to the left. Draw your chin in. Untuck your butt as you reach it back and wide to the right. Look underneath your left arm. Energize your hands by pushing them into the ground. The left hand can move into a dome hand. 3, we call this twisty cat. 2, and 1, twist your knees and your feet to center. Lower your left top of the foot and left knee, right foot, right knee, And let's lower to the right hip. Slide your right hand to the left corner of your mat and come all the way down into a supine position. Bend your knees and mound the tissue of your glutes up towards your sacrum. So you're lifting, grabbing the butt, lift and lowering then the hips. So you're sitting more on the bottom part of the butt rather than the top of the butt. Lift your chin out of your throat and lift your arms towards the sky. Lift your feet from the ground, but keep your belly long and your knees moving away from your body. Relax your toes as you twist your knees to the right and the arms to the left. Lean back through your head to open your throat. Push the knees forward, balloon the butt back. Embody your curves and then lift through center. And then roll your knees to the left and your arms to the right. Now they're hovering from the ground. And then one more time on each side. So if you just imagine a spring toy, it's round and it's curvy. Go to the other side if you haven't already. So we want to really cultivate the curves because that will enhance our body spring. We won't be able to spring in a flat line or in a linear disposition. Lower the feet to the ground, mound your glutes up once again, finishing it out with freedom pose. Lift your knees and place your hands at the tops of your knees with the fingers pointing towards the shins. Widen the knees out, but push the knees away from your body. Lift your chin from your throat and widen through the elbows. Feel the lower back curve lifting and the back of your neck lifting. The ribs and the booty and the head are mounded. Roll left all the way on the right side of your shoulder, right hip and right head, then come through center and roll to the opposite side. A few times on each side, but you're rolling inside of the curves. So the mounding of the head, the hollow of the cervical curve, the mounding of the ribs, the hollow of the lumbar, lower back curve, and the mounding of the hips. Lift your knees through center, lower your feet to the ground, mound your glutes up, and then slide each leg long, at least as wide as your yoga mat, with your hands resting open by your side, or if it feels more restorative to you to place them on your belly, then do that. Lift your chin out of your throat and please give yourself a moment to integrate all of this powerful energy that you have awakened today with your movement. With your eyes closed and your breath so steady, I encourage you to become as relaxed as possible and do whatever you need to do in order to make that happen. If any adjustments need to be made or if you need a prop underneath your knees, just relax your bones into the ground and receiving the fullness of each inhalation and relaxing with each exhalation. The breath is paramount to cultivating a spring. So know that you are nourishing your springy energy through simply breathing. And it's a full body breath. Please stay here as long as your schedule allows you for. If you're ready to move, start to bring some gentle movement into your wrists and into your ankles. Stretch your arms above your head. Walk your feet in towards your hips. Step your hips to the left and roll to your right side. Place your left hand in front of your chest as you slowly rise, coming into a kneeling or a seated position. Just want the hips to be higher than the knees, so prop yourself as necessary. Low globe the hands. All of the fingertips touch except the pinkies, and there's a lightness through your arms. Deep breath. Bring a soft prayer position to your third eye as you bow your energy inward, thanking yourself for making you a priority today. So much life happens when we cultivate more spring, and here it is that you are tuning into your life force. When we do that, we can then create more space for living the best life. Lift your chin out of your throat, open your arms, embracing your spring, lift your ribs. Really great job today, everybody. I would love to know how it is that you felt with this movement practice. If you felt the spring being activated, and any questions or comments, I would really, really love to hear from you. Okay, have a beautiful day. Many blessings.